Welcome to my opinion for the top 5 worst quests in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. We're not going to be counting glitches as that would be unfair. And by the way, I love this game. If I come off as negative, it's because I know how great it can be. We're going to do number 5 and 4 together because they're meant to be done together, and they both decided not to work, so we're going to cover them. It is going to be number 5 and number 4, poster session, and a tangled web. And I realize that I literally just said that glitches won't count, but these quests without glitches are still dog shit, and I just could not by any means get them to work. Basically, the whole quest just revolve around you going to certain places and picking up certain items, or going to a computer and hacking it for Mitnick. It's literally just a fetch quest, and the rewards for them are absolutely pointless, and I couldn't even get the quest to work. Also, it's worth mentioning that when you actually do the quest, between every single hack and item, you have to go back to your haven, which, if you're a normal player, most of the time is going to be the 2-story haven. So you have to go to the top of an elevator, ride the long load screen, go back to your email, log into your email, and do the whole shabam about 6 different times for each of the Nosferatu characters. It's just a really annoying quest line. I didn't enjoy either of them the first time I played the game, and I don't ever enjoy them on subsequent playthroughs. Let's move on. Number 3 is going to be Traffik for Big Larry. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Big Larry, but the absolutely massive parking lot that this quest takes place in is a completely different story. This is one of the typical Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines kill quest, where there's just a huge area with sprawling staircases where you have to kill a seemingly unlimited amount of enemies to proceed. I hate when the game does this. It does this with Halliburton Hotel, and even though it's a good midway point to test out your build for your character, it's still so tedious and not fun. The further down you go, the better weapons the enemies start to have, and they begin to appear to start fighting each other until they see you and just immediately target you. This quest wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't like 6 fucking stories of this parking lot. Like, literally, just look at how long it takes me to walk back to the top, sped up. This is 3 times speed, by the way. Okay, you get my point. Even if you like this quest, I think you can still agree it's a bit absurd how long this is. Number 2 is going to be You Only Die Once a Night from Romario. I originally considered not putting this on this list until I replayed it on a weaker character who was worse with guns, and it took me around 30 to 40 minutes. Before I played on this weaker character during this quest, I had never realized how annoying this could actually be. Then I proceeded to get down to the last minute around 4 or 5 times, and I had to constantly restart over and over again because I kept running out of ammo, or I could not aim properly because my perception was too low. Around 30 minutes in of running back and forth to these fucking gates, I eventually just gave up and no-clipped back and forth, and realized that it's not so easy for a character who's not so heavily based in guns. And I tried to complete this quest without no-clipping. I did. I tried multiple times, over 5 times. And even though I'd done it before, this character seemingly was not up to the challenge. So I think if I'm forced to no-clip to beat this, or glitch out the game so that the zombies won't move to the gates, there's fundamental flaws with the quest, and I think it's deserving of this list. Oh boy. The reason I basically made this entire list was for this quest, if I'm being perfectly honest. None of the other quests, in my opinion, even hold a candle to how garbage the design of this quest is. All I had to do to find the footage for this was look for my absolute longest recording, which is around 1 hour and 47 minutes, which is just me doing this specific quest. And with that out of the way, number 1, Going the Way of Kings. Now, the beginning part of this quest is actually fairly interesting. It's your first introduction to a Tsimisi vampire, which are very powerful and very ugly, and his house is covered in flesh and has these abominations. And though the game may consider this quest complete when you kill the Tsimisi, I don't, because there's not any other quest in between, and you're not allowed to leave until you go through the Warrens and bear the harshness that is the unfinished quest. See this? Well, I hope you like it, because it's about to be your new home for the next hour and a half. In fact, the Warrens is so universally hated that in this area that you're looking at right now, in the unofficial patch, there is a skip And if you have the password or just Google it, you can entirely skip the Warrens, and this is the only time the unofficial patch does this for a quest. The only time. That's how universally hated this quest is. Now you're probably wondering, 12, why is this quest so hated? What's so bad about it that makes it so much worse than all the other ones? Well, viewer who asked that question, and it's not just me projecting, it's full of puzzles, and not the good kind. These are puzzles that give you basically no hints whatsoever unless you have a high inspection, and even if you have a high inspection, you're still not going to be able to figure out what to do. The part you just saw right there, well, I didn't grab onto the ladder. I should have swam to the left and grabbed the ladder, so I have to redo it. That's basically the mentality that this entire quest carries out through all of the Warrens, and it's really sad that this big blemish on the game, it turned a lot of people away from it. And I wish that the unofficial patch could fix this quest in some way other than just skipping it. Now, the other reasons that people hate this quest are the repetition. You're going to see the same 3 enemies, and you're going to see the same sewer copy and pasted about 30, 40, 70 times. This is not an exaggeration. This is a very, very long quest. Maybe even the longest quest in the entire game. And when the longest quest in the entire game is as disruptive and chaotic and annoying as this quest is, it's no wonder why so many people remember the Warrens as one of the most hated areas in the entire game. Eventually, after fighting the same 2 enemies, they decided to spice things up a bit by adding in a boss creature halfway through. Though, what you don't realize is this boss creature will just become yet another enemy that will be copy and pasted throughout the Warrens over and over again. Hey, remember that boss that you fought less than 5 minutes ago? Well, fuck you, fight her again. And after all of that, your reward is to just progress in the story. Yep. Oh, and you get to do number 5 and 4 on this list, which might not even work for you. If you don't agree with any of my opinions, be sure to let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more random content uploaded on a random basis. Bye.